Hi, everyone, and welcome to Café IBTTA. I'm Pat Jones. My guests today are Rachel Bell, Matt Cole, and Marcel Jones, the chief meeting organizers of the Communications, HR, and Legal Workshop that will be held March 25 through 28 in Norfolk, Virginia. Rachel Bell is the Director of Business Services and Customer Relations for the Kansas Turnpike Authority. Matt Cole is the Director of Administration for the Ohio Turnpike and Infrastructure Commission, and Marcel Jones is a Senior Transportation Policy and Smart Mobility Advisor for Stantec Consulting Services. Rachel, Matt, who I hope we will see very soon, and Marcel, welcome to Café IBTTA. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thanks, Pat.
You bet. Well, this is Café IBTTA, where we drink coffee or your other favorite beverage and talk about things that are interesting, relevant, uplifting, and fun. And today is a special edition of Café IBTTA in which we focus on all the great things that will be happening at the IBTTA Communications, HR, and Legal Workshop, March 25 through 28 in Norfolk, Virginia. Now, before we start talking about Norfolk, I want to call your attention to a new product called the IBTTA Weekly Vibe. The Weekly Vibe is IBTTA's new once-a-week newsletter that tells you everything you need to know about IBTTA activities and events for that week. Make sure to check your inbox every Tuesday morning for the latest edition. The most recent edition went out yesterday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, so you might have to get back in the Wayback Machine to find that email. Also, if you have ideas or comments about other topics for the Weekly Vibe, please email us at ibtta@ibtta.org. Well, we have lots to talk about today, and we will be taking your questions. If you have a question, we invite you to type it in the chat function using everyone or all panelists and attendees. So first of all, we'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourselves. Rachel, Matt, Marcel, you're the CMOs for this meeting, and you've overseen the development of all the content. So tell us a bit about yourself and how you came to be involved in IBTTA. And Marcel, let's start with you.
Pat, I'm sorry. Were you?
Yeah. I was just asking if you would tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in IBTTA.
Okay, I'm sorry. My internet froze. I stayed on Marcel Jones. I've been with Stantec for a few years. I provide advice to our clients on policy, legislation, contracting, procurement. I have been a member of IBTTA since 2000, when I joined the North Texas Tollway Authority as their general counsel. One of the things that maybe some people don't know about me is I have degrees in journalism, law, and urban and regional planning, which I think make me a great issue spotter and problem solver. So one of the things when IBTTA or the industry started moving from gated to ORT to electronic tolling, I think I was one of the first to kind of sound the whistle warning, being prepared on the legal implications associated with all electronic tolling. And that's one of the things that I've always championed, to make sure that the agencies are operating in a way that protects them from unnecessary litigation.
All right. And I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about the legal aspects of this program in the coming minutes. Rachel Bell, let's turn to you. I understand you're on spring break and you're traveling, but you're still dialed in here and you're ready to tell us about who you are and where you came from.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Rachel Bell, and I have been with the Kansas Turnpike Authority since 2000. Started going to IBTTA meetings shortly after that. I think my first IBTTA meeting, Pat, might have been your first IBTTA meeting. And I oversee marketing, communications, and customer service here in Kansas.
All right, great. And Matt Cole from the Ohio Turnpike and Infrastructure Commission is our third chief meeting organizer, and we seem to have lost Matt, but we are eagerly trying to get him back, and hopefully we will hear from Matt very soon. So tell us, Marcel, Rachel, what's so special about this meeting? What is special about this particular communications, HR, and legal workshop? Rachel, let's start with you.
Was one of the first times that this group has come together in this way. We've had various kind of soft side of tolling meetings throughout the years. Marcel and I were kind of reminiscing about that the other day. But this is the first time really that communications, legal, and HR have come together in this manner. And we have a lot of overlapping issues that we handle for our organizations. So it's going to be a really cohesive meeting, I think.
I agree.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Marcel,
It's important because the topics that we're presenting are very relevant for our times. Legal, HR, communications, we are very much supports for the overall operations of a tolling authority, but we're also essential. So, you'll hear, and there's a lot of commonalities, again, as Rachel and Synergies mentioned. When you think about the law, it's about what's right and wrong, setting expectations of human behavior, of the public, and the communication. Again, it's about letting people know what's going on within your organization. It also has a form of interpreting the law and the world around us, telling us what's right and wrong. And then on the human resources side, if you look at, again, the framework of the law, it's, how does it apply? And who bears the brunt of what's right and wrong? So again, I think this is going to be excellent. And I know the lineup is great and it's going to be exciting. I'm looking so forward to it.
Thanks, Marcel. Matt Cole, it looks like we got you back. I'm going to invite you to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first became involved in IBTTA.
Well, thank you for bearing with me. A little bit about myself. Thanks, Pat. As Pat probably told you, I'm Matt Cole, the Director of Administration with the Ohio Turnpike. As the Director of Administration, I oversee a few departments. So I'm still having a couple of technical difficulties here. There we go.
Looking good, Matt.
Okay, there I am. Safety Services, Administration, the Communication Center, the liaison to our High Patrol, but most importantly, Human Resources. Been here for about 20 years and in Human Resources for about 25 total years. And I got involved with the IBTTA first by attending the 2020 Leadership Academy, which was a wonderful experience. And shortly thereafter, I joined the DEI committee with IBTTA and have been working with that group for about a little over 2 years now.
Great, Matt, it's good to see you. And I think all three of our chief meeting organizers are alumni of the IBTTA Leadership Academy. So we salute you and the great training you received and the networking opportunities as well. This meeting is already a big meeting. We have 155 registrants so far, and you'll be happy to know that 90 of them, 90 are from toll operator and toll agency members of IBTTA. So a really big crowd, and we're expecting a crowd of over 200. There is still time to register. We'll put a note in the chat of where you can register and learn more about this meeting. And we are taking your questions. If you have a question for any of our CMOs or all of them together, please put it in the chat using all panelists and attendees or everyone, okay? So now I want to turn a little bit to the content. The first billing, the top billing in this meeting is communications. And Rachel, I wonder if you would tell us about, one or two of the sessions that you're most eager about. One of the ones that I'm really excited about is this one called Aligning Expectations in the Workplace. It's kind of a generational kind of thing. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think that is, and I don't have those notes in front of me, I think that is our YPC.
Right.
session. And so YPC is hosting a fun, high energy session that focuses not so much on age, but stage and experience. From the standpoint that I think there's a lot of, and there always has been, right? Like at some point we were the young kids who and said, these kids today. But I think what we're hoping to get out of that session is understand and more about where you are in your career and the experiences that have shaped you, or experiences that you don't have yet, that makes you who you are. So that's going to be a really fun, high energy session, and I'm really looking forward to that one.
Excellent. And Rachel, for the record, I still consider you one of the young kids, one of the young people. Marcel, you are handling the legal aspects of this program. And one thing that really stands out for me is how the Constitution impacts you, your customers, and your workplace. And I'm thinking, I haven't studied the Constitution since freshman year of college, my opening political science course. So tell us about the Constitution.
So, yeah, the Constitution, of course, we all know is the foundation for how we operate in the United States. There are several amendments, 27, that speak to, again, the right and wrongs, expectations of behavior. So in this session, we'll have an opportunity to hear about those specific areas of the Constitution that impact how our facilities and our operations work. We'll talk about free speech, the right to bear arms, the right to travel, these limitations on states' rights, and how the federal government kind of dictates, again, having that equal protection under the law. So it's going to be really interesting, because I don't think some people really, while you understand we have this Constitution, you don't necessarily understand the trickle-down effect of it, and how it does impact your daily life. So this is going to be a great one.
Beautiful. Thanks, Marcel. Matt Cole, you are in charge of the HR section of this Communications, Legal, and HR workshop. Tell us about some of the highlights that stand out for you.
Well, we have quite a few great programs, but a couple of the ones I really wanted to highlight is first and foremost, for those who attended the Austin annual meeting, some may have met Gregory Bradley. He hosted a discussion there on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we are going to have him back in Norfolk in a two-part presentation. The first is going to be a train the trainer session, and he's going to really focus in on, excuse me, training individuals in the senior and mid-level management positions to be able to develop a DE&I program for their organization. So to really be able to take back some important information to help do that in their organization. The second part he's going to be presenting that day is connecting the DE&I programs with those leaders to create strong strategic partnerships and help really the HR folks kind of facilitate that with the other leaders of the organization, really bring it into the fabric of all the departments and what all the departments do. And then the second one I wanted to highlight is in our closing session, which is going to be on Tuesday. Catherine Manning is going to be presenting, and she's going to be presenting on mental health wellness of the workplace. As many know, the past 2 to 3 years have been very difficult in this country with a pandemic, many social justice issues, political upheaval. We can go on, and it is certainly spilled over into the workplace. And we're no longer in the days of being able to keep mental health at home. It's part of who we are. And certainly what she's going to intend to do is have people learn what signs to look for if there's mental health issues, maybe some coping mechanisms, and really be able to also to try to really have the HR individuals trained and other individuals trained to be able to deal with mental health awareness and issues in the workplace.
Thanks, Matt. That's you've got a great deal of breadth and depth in the HR section of the meeting, and I'm sure people are really going to enjoy that. Wanda mentions in the chat that the Constitution session will also be streamed on Zoom, and there are 2 other sessions that will be streamed on Zoom for those who are not able to make it in person. And I'll ask Wanda if she can put those in the chat as well, so you can be aware of which ones will be streamed on Zoom. We have a rich conversation going on in the chat function, so please continue to put your questions there. Rachel, there's an interesting question for you about K-Tag and asking, have you considered selling it through Amazon? What do you say about that, Rachel?
Yeah, Rush, I see your question. I attempted to answer and then my entire screen went blank. So hopefully you can hear me at this point. We actually give our transponders away in addition to being postpaid, and giving a transponder away it makes things just a little more challenging. We have to think through things because there is no skin in the game, so to speak, with the customer. If you give them something, they don't understand the value of it. We still think it's the best, way to go. But as far as selling it on Amazon, that's a little tricky since we don't actually sell them. So definitely something that we've thought about and continue to look into, though.
Thanks, Rachel. Marcel, we've got a question here for you from Rush Wicks as to the applicability of the Constitution. Another area of relevance would be the Commerce Clause, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, and variations in tolling rates. And we've had a recent case in Rhode Island related to that. Why don't you tell us a little bit more?
That definitely is a very important provision in the Constitution that impacts the ability to set differential tolling. So agencies can face challenges and have faced challenges from oftentimes the Trucking Association, but others who are questioning or challenging the ability to charge a fee that's less for residents than they do for out-of-state travelers. That's impacts what's called the Dormant Commerce Clause. Most times agencies have been successful. Rhode Island is facing a different challenge right now. Hopefully they'll be successful in their truck-only tolling recent decision by the court. So, but it definitely is something that is always an area to be considered when you're setting your tolls.
Thanks, Marcel. And I would just mention that in the case in Rhode Island, the Rhode Island Turnpike and Bridge Authority, our member there, asked IBTTA to file an amicus brief in support of their appeal of the decision that overturned the truck tolling system in Rhode Island, which we did. And we are hopeful that we'll get a more favorable decision in the appellate court in the First Circuit in Boston. And thank you, Marcel, for your help in helping us put together that amicus brief. It's the first amicus brief I'm aware of that IBTTA has done in 21 years, perhaps longer than that. So thank you very much.
Sure.
Rachel, a lot of other topics in communications leap out at me, including crisis communications, working with the media in a virtual world, targeting and inclusive marketing approaches, and building a strategic communications plan. Tell us a little bit more about one of those that really resonates with you.
Yeah, when we started putting the meeting together, we wanted to focus on some of those core components of communication to bring those, to our attendees. I don't know that I have a favorite. I mean, we're going to be talking about hands-on approaches to that strategic communication plan, which is the foundation that communicators work off of. And then we'll be moving into crisis communication. Bill Kramer, who formerly with IBTTA, now with HMTB, is leading that charge on the crisis communication session. And I hear he has a trophy to give away for the best horror story there. So that'll be exciting. And then we've also got media relations in a virtual world. And, spoiler alert, it's not that different. Although I think Kim Polton would be mortified to see me doing this from a truck right now. And then we've also got community engagement, a session on community engagement and how to hear all of those voices from your communities when you're talking about tolling and new projects. So I'm really excited about that one as well.
Thanks, Rachel. Matt, you mentioned you put a special emphasis on the session on mental health, wellness in the workplace. And there's another session here that's called the Upside Down Workplace. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about how we cope with the upside down workplace and what the future looks like for all of us.
Wow. Well, I don't know if we know, Pat, but I know that the last couple of years have really made us in HR step up our game, and along with legal and communications, to now look at our policies, practices, and procedures to determine a good course forward, develop a positive work culture, a way to rope in both those who are coming to brick and mortar offices and those who are primarily virtual, those of us who have field employees and non-field employees, in a way both to make everybody included, but also accommodate their needs to get their jobs done. And I think one of the biggest goals really at the end of the day is discussing how we can still be the best in our various companies and organizations as we continue to navigate through, because everything is upside down now.
Yep. Marcel, thank you so much, Matt. Marcel, one of the big legal topics these days, and we will take this up in Norfolk, has to do with transportation equity. And we've considered this a lot in the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force of IBTTA, and trying to incorporate themes of equity and DE&I in all of our meetings. Tell us a little bit about some of the things we may learn about it in terms of transportation equity in Norfolk.
So we're fortunate to have 3 agencies who will tell us about their programs for toll equity. And basically, it's recognizing that the tolls can create a different or heavier burden on some populations. And how do we address that? I think that's important for us to recognize that. And many of this is being required as a result of the federal government environmental justice requirements. And so it's not necessarily just tolling equity, meaning, getting discounts or lower rates for certain populations, but it's also about what we'll learn from Colorado. It's about, when you acquire property, how you're impacting displaced individuals as a result of building a road that might divide or impact their community. So those are the things that we'll be having an opportunity to talk about. Also, we'll have an opportunity to look at a new document that the Council of Platinum Sponsors and Stantec have put together that it's a guideline for agencies to consider when they are all aspects of their operation, how tolling can affect the local communities and various communities.
Marcel, there's a follow-up question here from Ian Deckard. Can you explain the difference between equality and equity?
Yes. So equality is the assumption that, we treat everybody equally, right? But equity recognizes that in treating everybody equally, you're still not necessarily treating everybody fairly, because we all start at different points. And that's what equality would recognize. So that is the difference.
Marcel, anybody who's Googled you, Marcel Jones with Stantec will find, an article or an in-house publication that talks about how after George Floyd was killed in the hands of police, that you brought a safety moment to a staff meeting. And I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So after the George Floyd killing, I was totally devastated. I spent the whole weekend just out of my mind. Plenty of Facebook posts. But ultimately, I wanted to bring that attention to my transportation group here in Texas. Stantec is really big on safety moments, and for us as Black individuals in the United States, and actually fairly in most places, being Black creates a safety moment for us in our everyday lives. So I made a presentation to my team on the talk, which some people are familiar with. This is what Black parents have to give to their children about how to interact with the police. And so I presented this to my group and then to my company as well. And it simply is, it's interesting because many of my colleagues did not know that that was something that we do or that we felt compelled to do. And it's an indication of how we don't necessarily know, the struggles that we all face. It's not something that we necessarily talk about, but it is a necessity, and it's something that you don't want to have to do, but you feel you have to do.
Marcel, thank you so much for sharing that, sort of intimate portrait of your life and your work, your professional work, and the lessons that you bring to the workplace. We are, I'm going to make a few announcements, and then I'm going to come back to our three CMOs and ask you for your final words of wisdom. So be sure to complete the survey that you will receive at the end of Café IBTTA. We're always interested in your views about future guests and topics. Please complete the survey. Coming up, we have a number of meetings coming up. Today, we've been talking about the Communications, HR, and Legal Workshop, March 25 through 28 in Norfolk. We expect more than 200 attendees, and more than 2/3 of them already have registered are from our operator members. We have the Technology Summit, April 29 through May 2nd in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Road Usage Charging and Finance Summit, June 4 through 6 in Salt Lake City. And please go to the IBTTA website for details on all of our upcoming events, both in person and virtual. Well, Rachel, Matt, Marcel, it's been wonderful having you on the program today. And I'd like to ask you for your final words of wisdom. Rachel, let's start with you.
I would just invite everybody to sign up and see us in Virginia. Questions we didn't get to talk about today, but are also exciting. The session with several executives talking about culture and revenue task force. So there is literally something for everybody, and I hope to see everybody there.
Thanks, Rachel. And also thanks to our hosts, the Elizabeth River Crossings and the Virginia Department of Transportation, for supporting this meeting. Matt Cole, your final words of wisdom.
Well, I'd like to first second Rachel's sentiment about we hope to see everybody in Norfolk, Virginia. And my final saying would be something we say in HR quite often, which is you want to develop employees well enough so they can leave you, but you want to treat them well enough so they don't.
Great.
I love that. Beautiful, beautiful sentiment, Matt. Thank you so much. Marcel, your final words of wisdom.
Be present and be kind.
Beautiful. All right. You guys are pithy and succinct with the words of wisdom and also profound. I want to thank you, Marcel Jones, Matt Cole, Rachel Bell, the chief meeting organizers of our Communications, HR, and Legal Workshop, which runs March 25 through 28 in Norfolk, Virginia. We hope to see you there. And to all our viewers, be safe, keep in touch, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks, everybody.